All right. I believe we are now beginning the process of live. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for joining the live stream at 52 Cards. This is literally 52 Cards' first live stream ever. So if you're joining right now, you are one of the first people to ever experience 52 Cards live. My name is Vinh. I'm one of the instructors here at 52 Cards. And my brother from another mother, I'd like to say, Asad, the original creator of this channel. He's also here as well. So everyone, if you are in the room, please do show Asad some love in the comment section below. I'm really excited about this because this is such a cool platform for us to be able to get to know each other. And that's one of the main reasons why Asad and I thought, let's do some live kind of streams for YouTube. Because when we do a video, it's so much kind of one way, us teaching you, it's kind of one way. I know you get to leave some comments, but here is a great way for us to be able to connect. So I'm going to try my best to keep an eye on the comment section that's coming through. But if you've got any questions you'd like to ask me, anything, please do feel free to ask me. And thank you everyone for joining. I can see all of you, Mark Doe, Adam, Yelene, Jester. Thank you for joining the live stream. Thank you for spending time with us here on this live stream on YouTube. So one of the first things I wanted to talk about is that I wanted to share with you a little bit about my background so you all have context, because one of the big questions we were getting on Instagram and also Facebook was, hey Vin, can you tell us a little bit about your journey? And for me, magic started when I was about 15 years old. And the main reason I got into magic, because a lot of people wanted to know that too, was because I lacked self-confidence. And I really wanted people to give me more attention. I wanted more attention from people, and I wanted attention in the fastest way that I could. And it was funny because magic was one of the most fraudulent ways to get attention. So I learned magic and I started getting attention. It made me feel confident and I was literally addicted to it. And I want to give you a high level kind of journey because I did then magic from 15 to probably about 18, 19. Then I got into magic professionally because I literally was in a position where I was in university and I started doing close-up magic for networking functions. And as I was doing this, I literally was getting paid to do close-up magic when I was 19, 20, anywhere between $500 to $1,000 per gig. And I was doing on average 2 gigs a week at least. And on the good weeks, I would be doing 3 or 4 gigs. So I was making more money in university than an accountant or a lawyer because I was in university studying accounting and law. So that's why I decided, I was like, okay, stuff that, I'm leaving university. So I kind of quit university with 6 months to go. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well. I'm looking through this right now and Phil says, is there going to be some live tutorials? Phil, what's up? You know, live tutorials is a really good idea. I think live tutorials is a fantastic idea because if I had a live tutorial, I could connect up a few cameras and maybe this is something Asad and I can talk about. So Asad, maybe this is something we should do. How cool would a live tutorial be? Because we can set up, you know, 2 or 3 angles, and maybe when Asad's teaching, I can be controlling the camera angles, and maybe when I'm teaching, Asad can be controlling the camera angles. A really cool idea. A really, really cool idea. Steve says, can you do a magic trick of your favorite trick? Yeah, look, of course I can. Of course I can, but it's just going to take a little bit of time before we can kind of schedule time to film. And Kieran says, Vin, I've been seeing a lot of shades. I've been seeing a lot of shade being thrown in the magic industry. What are your thoughts on this? Kieran, I try to stay out of all of that because, you know, I really want to be able to protect my mindset. I want to protect how I'm feeling most days. And a lot of that stuff can be a little bit toxic. So I choose not to really pay attention to it. And also to give all of you a little bit of context as well, I'm very showmanship heavy. So if you've got any questions about showmanship, make sure you pop them down below. Asad's going to help me monitor through them. And if we've got some, then I definitely want to be able to help you address some of those questions right away. And look, there's one thing I want to tell you all now, because one of the great questions we got here from Instagram as well is, we've got here, let me just have a quick look. Vin, what skills do I need to become a good showman? How can I build my showmanship? What are some of the first steps on how I can build my showmanship ability? And what I'm going to say here is pretty straightforward. I think the first thing we should try, especially as magicians, is that try to vary your pitch more. Do you know what I mean? Essentially, try to vary your pitch more. A lot of the times, people don't vary their pitch. People kind of spend a lot of time just with one pitch. So I just want you all to imagine right now, if I kind of came up to you and performed the trick like this, literally just like this, and I didn't change pitch at all, How do you feel? Are you getting bored? I have a feeling you're all getting bored. That was a bit too much. That was a little bit too much variety there already. But you can kind of see how one of the biggest ways to immediately improve your showmanship is to have more pitches. And think about it like a piano. A piano has so many keys. And a lot of the times when we're out there performing, we're only using one key. So what I really want to encourage you to do is explore the different notes you have in your voice. So even when you're trying it, just kind of try every single volume and every single pitch you want. And then sometimes it will sound weird. But that's okay. You're exploring. And don't worry about those haters. They're a waste of time anyway. So that's one of the first things I would say is really important to be able to build your showmanship ability. Okay, so I've got, I think I've got that question there. And they've got another question here that some reason highlighted. I don't even know what that means, but it looks important. Harley says, what was the hardest cardistry magic move for you to learn? Oh my goodness. Cardistry, Harley, is definitely not my forte. Definitely not my forte. I learn one or two pieces of cardistry just because there are key routines I do in Magic where I like to show a little bit of flourishes. And I seriously, I only know maybe about 5 cardistry moves. And I think the most difficult one I learned was from Dan and Dave back in the day. Those who know Dan and Dave, show them some love. They were incredible kind of ambassadors back then for cardistry, and still are. But I learned one of the ones, I think it's called Molecule 2, where it's essentially, it's a crazy move and then you flip the packet of cards in the air and it turns, and then one card turns around and it catches that one card in the air while it's in the air and it kind of snaps back into the pack. Slightly ridiculous, but I did spend a lot of time learning that, which was a huge, not waste of time, but I rarely even use it anymore. So that was definitely really, really difficult. Sleight of Cards says, is there a way for me to get a mint deck? Definitely. I know that Asad is definitely planning for many more giveaways moving forward. So all you got to do is make sure you stay tuned for the videos on the channel, and there are definitely going to be more giveaways. Asad actually, I caught up with him for lunch the other day. He gave me a few packets of mints and I'm loving them. Like seriously, I've never seen, like, and of course I'm totally biased because I love Asad, but mints are just the most elegant looking packet of cards ever. Like, it looks classy without overdoing it, because there's a lot of packets of cards out there that they're kind of overdone. They look like they're too much, and then when it looks too much, it drives me crazy. So, look, I want to definitely show some love to Philip. Philip, thank you for asking the question before, and definitely want to show Harley a lot of love too for that great cardistry question. Lots of love, my friends. And hey, thank you all so much for being so lovely on the stream. I mean, I'm seeing all the questions come through. Definitely, I'm hearing about there's some sound things. I would definitely check that for the next live stream. I mean, this is a very complicated setup that one of my sound engineer friends helped me set up. But in the spirit of keeping things related to Magic, remember, if you've got any questions about Magic, pop them down below. And if you've just joined the live stream, welcome. Welcome to the live stream. So let me jump to the next question here I've got from Instagram. And one of the questions we got here as well is that, how often should we practice? And I think that is a really good question. And I think the answer to this is going to be different for everyone, because it depends if you want to do Magic professionally or not. And it depends how good you want to get. So I think that's something really important to keep in mind. And the more you practice, the better you get. Now, there's something very important in practice I want to share with you. There's a common line where people say, practice makes perfect. It's not true. It's not true. There's one step that they're missing. You have to practice, but then you have to review the practice. If you're just mindlessly practicing, then what you're genuinely doing, and hear me out for this, okay? What you're actually doing is you're cementing the good habits, but you're also cementing in the bad habits. Because if you're not reviewing it, that means that when you're practicing, you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. So what's really important about practice is that you take the time to review your practice. But how do you review your practice? You got to record yourself. As magicians, one of the most wonderful ways for us to get better is for us to practice in front of a camera. And do the first piece of sleight of hand if you're practicing a piece of sleight of hand in front of the camera. Then maybe practice for an hour or so, and then do another 2 or 3 in front of the camera, and then watch for the differences. And then kind of look at it and review it and go, oh, there's something I should be fixing, but then everything else I'm doing really well. So then when you're practicing, now you're reinforcing the good stuff, but you're eliminating the bad habits. So if we were to kind of distill that into a nutshell, it's practice and review, and then practice and then review, and then on repeat. That's what makes perfect. So kind of keep that in mind as well, because I think that's really important to kind of understand the differences when we're practicing in magic. So lots of love to everyone who's joining the live stream. Really appreciate you all kind of jumping on, and thank you all for the wonderful feedback on the earphone issue. I'll definitely get that checked out, so don't worry. And I've got another big blue question now that just came through from Rachel. Rachel says, Vin, can you explain more about emotional intelligence? Interesting. You want to learn more about emotional intelligence? And let me tell you why emotional intelligence is important for magicians. Now, emotional intelligence is you being aware of other people's feelings and emotions when you're around them. Now, this is so important to magicians, because as magicians, we need to understand how people are feeling so we can kind of adjust our magic to cater to those people. It's kind of like, let me give you an example. There were times when I used to go out and perform, and these people clearly are not fans of mentalism. But I'm like, oh yeah? Here's another mentalism trick. Think of a letter of the alphabet. And then I just do another mental, and they're like, and I just wasn't emotionally aware, and I couldn't empathize, and I couldn't kind of sense what they were feeling. And I literally did 4 or 5 mentalism routines, which by the end of it, none of them were applauding, and they all looked really like, man, this guy's really weird. So to me, emotional intelligence, the way it helps magicians, first of all, to frame for you why it's important for you to kind of dive into the area of emotional intelligence, is because it gives you situational awareness. So when you're performing for someone, another example is, because I want to be thorough as I can about this, because it's not really talked about in the world of magic. But when you walk up to someone and they clearly don't like magic, you don't continue to perform. You have enough emotional intelligence to go, oh, I realize the situation. Thank you. Hey, mate, thanks for your time. But I know this is not really your thing, but hey, cheers for your time anyway. And then you go. So it's valuable in so many different aspects. So if I talk about emotional intelligence just for a little bit longer, because I mean, Rachel is showing us a lot of love, by the way, by asking this question. I think it's a very important one. The way to improve your emotional intelligence is for you to start reading more on emotional intelligence, because you need to build up your awareness on what emotional intelligence actually means. So on my own Facebook page, if you go to facebook.com/askvin, I do have an emotional intelligence video there, which you can watch, which gives you a really good definition on what emotional intelligence is. And then from there, I would definitely go and read about emotional intelligence, because I could spend an entire 50 hours on a live stream with you to talk about emotional intelligence. But what I will say is that a huge part of being more emotionally intelligent and building your EQ is to ensure that you listen more. So instead of kind of going into a magic situation going, I'm going to perform and not listen to anybody else and what they do, you kind of have to go into the situation going, okay, I'm going to go in, but I'm going to listen. I'm going to make sure I listen. And instead of just kind of going in there and performing without reacting to the audience, I'm going to perform, but at the same time, I'm going to absorb what they're kind of, the signals they're sending me, and I'm going to react to that. Because a lot of the times I see magicians perform and then they kind of walk to a group and they just immediately get stuck into performance mode. And even when the audience says something funny, they don't acknowledge it. And they kind of just steam through the trick. And what audience members really, really like is when you connect with them. Because before you truly connect with someone, they're not going to feel like, the more somebody likes you, the more they're going to react and the more they're going to enjoy the magic. It's not just about the magic. It's also about you. And something really important before I jump into a really good question that I see right here, and the question is, so I remember, when did you start making money with magic? I will jump into that. But people have to like you before they're going to like your magic. So don't forget that. That's one of the reasons why I say it's so important for us to be building our communication skills, but also building on who we are as individuals. So as you grow and develop yourself, you're going to be able to further develop who you are, which makes you more likable, which then therefore means your magic will ultimately become more powerful. So let me kind of go, let me just quickly go here. And I will jump to the other question again, but Chicken Wing says, Vin, what do you normally respond to audiences with when they reveal your secrets after performing? Chicken, I don't really get upset about that, because audience members, I don't mind them thinking about the different ways that that the trick could have been done. And I don't even mind when they get it right. But what I did find is really cool to say is that this is what I say to them. This is how I kind of deal with people who always are like, oh, I think I know how it's done. So let's role play this. So somebody comes to me and they says, oh, I think I know how your trick is done. I'll be like, oh, cool. That's awesome. But hey, I have to tell you something. There was a great magician who once said, a magician guards an empty treasure chest, yet the magician will guard the chest nonetheless. Right, which is a really kind of clever saying there. And then I kind of tell them, well, look, hey, you can say all you want, you can guess, but my job is to kind of not tell you because it's to keep the magic alive. And I will also say one more thing. I will not confirm or deny anything. And then that kind of puts them off guessing now. And it's really funny because half the time they don't guess anymore. Half the time they're like, oh, fine, no worries. Hey, Vin, that was a really good show. So you just have to understand how to kind of deflect those kind of things. But even if people really want to guess how it's done, it doesn't upset me. It doesn't make me feel angry. I just kind of take it as, you know, they're really interested in magic. And some people genuinely are really interested in how tricks are done. And that's okay. It's their right. They're allowed to be. And the question before that I was going to talk about was, Vin, I think it was, when did you start making money with magic? Which I kind of addressed at the beginning of the live stream. But I started making money with it when I was about 19 and 20. So I started in bars and restaurants and also corporate functions. Ultimately was where I made the most money with my magic skills. And Flaming Yeti, sorry, your name just stood out to me, so I'm going to have to show you some love there. Flaming Yeti said, if I was on the street with a packet of cards, what's the best way to approach someone to do a trick? Okay, so I got a really cool hack, okay? Now, my hack is a little bit bold, but I love this hack. When I walk up to people who are strangers, and it doesn't matter where I am, I could be in the airport, I literally could be anywhere. I'd walk up to people, I'd have my packet of cards, and I literally would say, excuse me, have I performed for you yet? And it's such a wonderful psychological question. So the question is, you ask people, so you just walk up to someone with your packet of cards, and you say, excuse me, sorry to bother you, have I performed for you yet? And it's so brilliantly constructed, that sentence, because now they have to say no, because the question is, have I performed for you yet? And the answer to that would be no, because you haven't. And you go, oh, cool. Could you hold out your hand like this for me? I'd love to show you a little something really fun. And I'm able to get anybody's attention. I rarely ever get no's when I do this. And another method for those of you who don't want to be so bold is a really cool method as well, where I kind of walk up to people and say, hi, my name is Vin. I'm a magician, and I'm rehearsing for a pretty big show I'm doing in 2 weeks. And there's 2 tricks that I'm practicing. Do you mind if you just be my guinea pig for the next 3 minutes? Is that okay? And again, I rarely get a no. And I still do this quite often in airports. So it's just how I have fun, and it's how I kind of bring a little bit of joy to the people around me. Generally, airports are really depressing. And I travel a lot for my work. So I kind of try to bring a bit of love and a bit of magic to those environments. But thank you all so much for continuing to kind of jump in with the questions. And thank you for all of you who are joining. Welcome to 52 Cards' first live stream. My name is Vin, and I would love to be able to answer any questions that you have. So as I'm looking through here as well, we've got another one. Does magic normally make you unpopular? Brian, I think that's a really good question, because magic can make you unpopular if you don't perform it well, or if you become too arrogant with it. I think it's very easy for people to dislike magicians, especially if the magic is bad. Like if the magic is, there's nothing worse than bad magic in my mind. But if the magic is bad, then definitely people are going to dislike it. And also if you come across a bit too arrogant, or if you start putting on that challenging kind of persona where you're like, you know, you're kind of challenging the audience as opposed to kind of having fun with them. And what I mean by that is, you know, there are some audience members who are challenging you, and they're like, you know, as you're performing a trick, they're like, I think I know how you did that. And then you're like, oh yeah, well then I'm going to do another trick that's going to fool you even more. And it just doesn't create a good environment. So definitely magic can make you unpopular. But if you use it right, it definitely can make you really popular. So there you go. There's that. Now, Lewis says, now here's a good question by Lewis. What is bad magic to you? This is my own personal opinion. Bad magic to me is when there's very little showmanship. And I'm biased because I enjoy showmanship. So when someone just does a trick when there's no real story or there's no real kind of talking at all, I'm like, oh man, I want more substance. Like I want more. So, I mean, I like eye candy. I like, you know, like flourishes, and I do like color changes. But then that gets boring to me really quickly. And this is my own opinion here. So I like it when there's like a beautiful story behind it, and there's like, you know, like characters involved almost. So I really enjoy that kind of magic, and that's just kind of my own personal taste. So, you know, it's subjective. Someone else will look at that and go, Vin, that's the worst kind of magic. Less talking, more magic, please. So to me, that's kind of my version. That's my take, and that's okay. You can have what you like, and I can have what I like. It's all good. Let me keep looking through. Another comment here. Oh, this is interesting. Vin, how do you deal with hecklers? Oh, I love this. This is a really good question. Thank you all, by the way, for being so engaging in the comment section. And by the way, I'm not sure if you can, but we're still learning a lot about this live stream. But if you're enjoying the live stream so far, do give us a thumbs up. I did it also in the high voice there for you all, just so that further encouragement, maybe you will do it. You don't have to, but you should. So the question was, Vin, how do you deal with hecklers? You know, my mentality on this is that let's say for example, okay, sorry, I better clarify. A heckler is someone who kind of, let's say you're performing for 3 or 4 people close up, and a heckler is someone who basically tries to ruin your trick by saying, oh, I know the card's on top. You turned over 2 cards as 1. I know that move. It's called a 2 cards turning over as 1 move. I love it when like a non-magician starts to heckle you and thinks they're a magician. It's the best. So what I do is, first of all, I kind of stop and I go, hey, yeah, look, hey, do you know magic? Hey, look, how about I stop for a moment and kind of give you the limelight? Sorry, look, I didn't mean to jump in and step on your toes. How about you show all of us a trick? Like, I don't do that with a mean kind of tone. I don't go, oh yeah, well, why don't you show us a trick then, genius? I definitely don't do that. I really maintain a sincere tone and say his name is Richard. So I say, hey, Richard, hey, look, you saw right through me. Okay, look, Richard, I'm just starting out. So, man, maybe you can show them something. I don't want to kind of steal your spotlight, mate. Go for it. And I literally hold the cards out and hold it. And then guess what Richard does? Oh, no, it's cool. It's cool, bro. It's cool. No, it's cool, man. It's cool. No, you go ahead. Sorry, man. You go ahead. And generally that for me stops the heckler. And I've kind of turned a heckler around from being a hater to a lover. So to me, that's kind of my first priority. And then if I can't do that, and he's still kind of going, oh yeah, then I'll do the trick, or nah, you do it. You're the magician kind of thing. If that kind of continues, then I kind of say, well, look, mate, if you already know how it's done, maybe I can just show your friends. And there are some times when it gets even worse, and I have a move that I do, and I'm not recommending this to all of you, but when someone kind of becomes annoying enough for me, what I do is I go, okay, look, everyone, look. I'd like to show you all what I call the disappearing magician. And I know this is crazy. But look, could you all close your eyes just for 3 seconds? And they literally close their eyes for 3 seconds, and literally, I just leave. So when they open their eyes, they're like, what the frick? And I just think that's hilarious. And I've actually done that maybe 10 times in my career. But it's just so satisfying, especially if they're just being a complete douchebag to you. Then that's kind of what I do. But I very rarely do that. So I'm just kind of saying that's the last resort. And I'm going to keep coming through the questions here are really, really, really good. Vin, what do you think of Jill Brizzy faking his magic tricks? I don't actually know who Jill Brizzy is, so that's kind of embarrassing. Is he like a new kind of upcoming magician? I do apologize, no idea. I genuinely don't know who that is, so I can't really say about faking reactions. I mean, look, faking his magic tricks. I think a lot of don't a lot of TV magicians sometimes use that anyway? Because and the reason this is because magic is a real life thing. So a lot of the times when you do magic on TV, it loses a lot of its power, and therefore people kind of have to, really fake some stuff so that it looks like it has more impact than it actually does. I don't know, because I think through TV sometimes magic loses a lot of its power, because magic is really, really powerful kind of live as opposed to something that is seen through a TV screen. So let me have a quick look now. I want to make sure I get some of the Instagrammer questions who sent their questions in last night. I want to show them some love. And I'm definitely going to come back here and show you all some love too. Distributing love. Distributing love here. Then let me go to this one. Haha. Ooh, okay. Vin, can you give us some tips for how we can present mentalism with more confidence? So a lot of the times, the core thing this person's asking is really interesting to me, because tell me this, and if you feel this, then kind of maybe give me some emojis or give me some thumbs up or hearts if you agree with this, so I can kind of understand. But when you go out and perform magic, do many of you feel scared? Do you start to kind of feel a bit of anxiety, or do you feel like you're really concerned or scared or fear? Do you feel that? Because if you do, a lot of the times that fear it comes about as a result of lack of rehearsal, because you haven't practiced it enough. And that's what makes us scared. Because where does fear come from? Fear, we are scared when we don't know what's going to happen. We are scared of the unknown. So let me give you a real life example that you all can relate to. We're all laying in bed at night and it's a really dark evening, some reason. Well, it shouldn't be some reason because all evenings are dark. But you're at night, you're laying in your bed, it's all dark, all the lights are out. And then you see this kind of shadow. And because you don't know what the shadow is, you start to crap your pants. And you go, what the hell is that? And then, you know, your mum comes in, turns on the light, and it's just the clothes rack. So our brains are designed to fear the unknown. So when you haven't rehearsed enough and you don't know everything that you're going to do like the back of your hand, then when you go into that performance mode, or when you go into that kind of situation where you have to do what you don't really fully have well rehearsed, then of course you're going to be scared. So to me, 80% of fear, 70% of that fear that you feel before you go and perform is because you're not well rehearsed. And I'm not just talking about being well rehearsed with your sleight of hand. I'm talking about being well rehearsed with your showmanship. You got to know what you got to say. And another 10% of that fear comes along because you don't know what the first thing you're going to say is. And if you want to learn some simple opening lines that I kind of shared before, my gold nuggets, just kind of rewind the live stream later after this is posted and kind of watch back through it, and you'll see some of the things that I say. But when you're well rehearsed and you know exactly what you're going to say the moment you open your mouth and walk up towards a group, that gets rid of 70+% of the fear that you feel. And the remaining 20-30% of fear that you feel, you can't avoid that. You cannot avoid that. So understand that you have to feel that fear, but you shouldn't be feeling 100% of fear. If you're feeling 100% fearful, that's too much fear. Get rid of it. Remedy 70% of the fear with the rehearsal. Remedy another 10% of the fear with knowing what your opening line is going to be. And then when you go in, allow yourself to feel that 20% of fear. You have to. And only over time does that last little bit of fear start to reduce. But it never goes away. My friends, I've been doing magic now for like 15 years of my life. I'm 30 and I started when I was around 15. And I still feel fear when I perform magic. I still feel a little bit scared, but that's what makes me come alive. That's what makes me feel alive, is that little bit of fear. When I feel no more fear, I'm really boring to watch. I'm really boring to watch. So let me jump down to the comment section again. Hector says, when you get used to performing, that is going to go away. You just got to keep performing. Yeah, true. But I believe it never truly goes away completely. And Brian says, if your parents and friends disapprove of you doing magic, yet you still love doing it, what do? You keep doing it, brother. Brian, and this is going to be something that I think will add value to a lot of people here on the live stream. We have to be careful that we don't live a life that is based on what everybody else wants us to do. Because then when you kind of look back in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, 30 years' time, is you didn't live your own life. You lived the life that everybody told you to live. And guess who suffers throughout that life? Not them, you. So we have to chase the things we desire. Now, we also have to be realistic and pragmatic. Because, again, you have to have enough self-awareness to know, do I have enough skill to become a magician? And only you can make that judgment. Because, Brian, I haven't met you and I don't know who you are. But, Brian, you just kind of have to look at yourself and go, do I have the skill to become a magician? Am I willing to put in the hard work to build the skill that I need to have to become a magician? Both sleight of hand and showmanship. And then on top of this, Brian, you also have to think, well, do I also... Am I really, truth to your heart, am I really going to commit to learning the business side of magic as well? Because to genuinely do magic as a career path, you have to learn the business side of magic. You have to understand, and this is a really painful thing, I think, for a lot of magicians, and it's that just because you love magic doesn't mean you're going to get to do it as a profession. If you want to do it professionally, not only do you have to be a good magician, you also have to be a good business person and a good marketer. So then you have to also build skill in that area. The biggest magician I find, the biggest mistake I find that most magicians make is that they focus purely on the magic. They build no skill set in promoting themselves and marketing themselves. They don't build any business acumen, and then they fail. And then they kind of don't understand why they failed. And I just want to make clear for all of you, the reason why I do see quite a lot of younger magicians fail is because they don't have the business acumen and they don't have the marketing knowledge. But if you're a great magician armed with the willingness to learn the business skills you need and also to learn the marketing required and willing to be in this for the long run, then Brian, I would stick to my guns and I would chase this career with all my heart. But if I'm not willing to do all of that, then I won't. So again, you've got to have enough self-awareness with that as well, okay? So please do keep that in mind. And Brian, it's my pleasure. And let me look for another question here because I want to show the YouTube comment section some love. Thank you all for joining the live stream. This is fantastic, isn't it? This is so fun. I'm bloody loving this. So thank you all for jumping on and joining. So let me have a look at a question here. We've got a question here. Any tips on the pass? Definitely. I'm not going to give you technical tips on the pass because there are plenty of good videos that we have on our channel to be able to teach you the technical tips with the pass. Asad's pass is legendary. Better than mine for sure. But I'm going to give you a different perspective on the pass because the pass is this legendary move that every magician talks about. Like I seriously sometimes don't go to magic meetups just because my pass isn't very good. And then when I see other magicians, the first thing they say to me is like, hey man, show me your pass. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to show me my pass. My pass isn't good. So let me give you my kind of tips on the pass. I think one of the most important things to learn how to do is to find offbeat moments. And offbeat moments are moments where the audience member is laughing. So say I made a joke. So I kind of go, hey, put your card back into the pack. They put it back into the pack. And then I make a joke. So I might do a funny joke or something. And let's say I do a funny joke. And then they go, ha, 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 ha. And then they laugh. The moment they laugh and close their eyes, I do my little bad, crappy pass. Or the moment there's an offbeat in terms of, so I got their card, I put it back in the pack, I put the cards back into the pack, and I've got a pack of cards here, so why don't I do it with this here? I know it might be a bit hard for you all to see, but as they kind of put their card back into the pack, I hold a break and I put their card back in, and then I pause for a second, I go, cool. Now, the important thing I want you to realize, Susan, as you're watching me do this is, Susan, do you remember your card? And I ask her a question. And the moment you ask people questions, whether they answer out loud or not, they're answering it in their heads. So I go, Susan, do you remember the exact card? Do you remember the color of your card, the picture of your card? And do you remember the number and the suit and the value? And I say all of this. I bombard her with questions. And the moment I bombard her with questions, then I go, crappy pastime. Then I literally do my pass. So I use my ability to be able to misdirect people to do my pass. And I've done, like, look, my pass isn't too bad, but I've done really bad passes before when I wasn't very good at it. And I totally got away with it because I know which moments to do them in. So again, it's not only about building skill with your sleight of hand. Because when you start to build your showmanship ability, when you build your ability to entertain people as well as, you know, technically entertain them with the sleight of hand, but you're kind of verbally entertaining them with who you are and your character and your charisma, it's insanity. Because now you can get away with anything. Like you can get away with so much more than just sleight of hand alone. So I definitely want you to kind of think about that because those are the moments when you can get away with a pass. A, make them laugh. B, ask them questions. And there's another little thing there that I did before that I hope you all caught. And it's that a lot of people feel like the moment, the card goes back into the pack, right? And you're holding a break. The moment that happens, you don't have to do the pass straight away. Just hold the break. And now relax, talk casually. And the moment there's a natural offbeat, hands come together and then you do the pass. So I hope you can see what I'm doing there. So what I'm doing is, again, you take the card, you get the card back into the pack. So say they give this card back, you put it back in. I hold the break. I'm going to hold an exaggerated break so you all can see. I literally just hold the break and then I just casually chat now and I go, cool. So the reason I got you to remember the card is because, if anybody did forget the card, the trick would be really bad. And then boom, I do the pass in little offbeat moments. So look, I do hope that adds value. It's not technical sleight of hand advice, but it's my expertise advice, which is showmanship. So there you go, the pass. And thank you all of you for joining the live stream. If you've just joined, welcome. This live stream will be available after, so don't stress, don't panic. You did miss out on some pretty cool stuff, but you'll be able to watch it back anytime. So thank you for watching this. And even people watching this after it's live. Hi, and welcome to 52Kards live stream. It's our first live stream, so it's kind of special. So thank you all for joining us. And if you enjoy this, please do give us a thumbs up. As always, you don't have to, but I think you should. Let me have a quick look through here. Vin, Mr. Hot Indian Guy says, Vin, please, what are some tips you can give for us to be charismatic like you? Mate, thank you for the lovely feedback, but also know that I wasn't always like this, okay? So maybe when I feel more confident about myself and you all show me some love, I will show you videos of me from when I wasn't charismatic. So I want you to know that I wasn't always like this. The Vin you see now, I created this. I wanted to be like this all my life. And coming from look, I'm Asian. Coming from the Asian community, like, it's not true for all Asians, but a lot of Asians are very quiet. Like, I never used to be really loud. Because I just didn't want to be loud. I just didn't think it was important to be loud. But imagine I did a whole live stream like this. Imagine I did a whole live stream like this. That's how I would have done it if you looked at me 8 years ago. And me doing that now drives me insane. So you kind of have to understand that the charisma that I have now, please don't look at it as something that I naturally have, because it's just not true. And also understand that it took many, many, many years to really work on myself to be able to get myself to where I am today. And I really just want to say to you as well that one of the first things that you can do is rewatch the live stream at the beginning, where I share the advice about learning how to use more pitches in your voice. So just kind of look for that component, because that's a great first step in learning how to communicate more effectively, which ultimately you improving your communication skills you improving your communication skills is the thing that's going to make you come across more charismatic. So definitely check out that bit on the live stream once we kind of publish this and go back to live. I've got one here. Gav. G'day, Gav. It's a good old Australian name. Gav. G'day, mate. Thanks for joining the live stream. Gav says, Vin, how do you know a trick is worth buying or practicing? Look, sometimes you don't, sometimes you don't know until you buy it and then you get it and then you get really disappointed. I mean, I think there's a lot of magic companies now who kind of create some magic tricks that just seem so over the top. Like the trailers are like Born Supremacy, like an action movie. And then, you buy them because of the hype, and I buy them as well. And you get it and you're like, I mean, if I have to give you my reaction as a sound, it would be, oh, no. That basically would be my reaction. So what I'm saying is you don't always know. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, maybe look at some reviews. I'm normally really impatient and I kind of go, oh, look, trick looks really cool. Buy now. And then severely disappointed after that. But definitely check out some reviews. I know Asad does a lot of reviews as well. And what's really cool is, the one thing I really like about Asad and what he does with his channel, and it's why I kind of agreed to kind of join up with 52Kards and be an instructor here and a collaborator, is that Asad is always really straightforward. He's a straight shooter. Like, he'll never promote anything that's not good. He never promote anything that is not cool. So, he's the kind of guy that will only ever promote something that he personally has used and he personally has seen in action So I really respect that. So again, I think maybe just look out for the reviews that he does and anybody else you trust, whoever else you trust. So I think that's a really good way to protect yourself from that. Let me keep going through the questions. Oh, this is a good question. Ankash says that, Vin, do you think magic is better taught through books or videos? The simple answer to that, my friend, is it depends how you learn best. There's no blanket answer to those questions. You know, it's not like I can say video is best, always video. But for me, I learn best via video. And I can also learn really well via books too. So to me, it's kind of, I use both. And I never really try to restrict myself to one medium for learning. I try to use them all. There you go. This is hilarious. Zev says, do you look like a farmer? Do I look like a farmer? Maybe I look like a farmer. That's hilarious. Yes, I'm a farmer. I actually do used to work on farms when I was young. My family was really poor when we first came to Australia. My family are refugees from Vietnam, so I used to work on the farm every weekend. So maybe that's where that look comes from. Let me have a look at another question here. Let me kind of jump through. Here we go. The Manatee Master says, Vin, do you have any suggestions for a routine that I could perform on stage at a graduation? Hell yeah. Look up a trick called Tossed Out Deck. You probably are already aware of it. That is my go-to stage trick. It's so simple, but it's so damn effective. And it's one of the most powerful stage pieces that I do. And I love Tossed Out Deck. It's easy. It's not that difficult. It's heavily presentation based. Try that. That's a really good one. I think you'll like. And let me go to the next question. Vin Mew says, this is an interesting one. This is very showmanship heavy. Vin, how do I build up enough confidence to perform or do a keynote? It's funny you say keynote because for those of you who don't know, I am a keynote speaker. Look, I think the best way to build confidence with anything is to do more of it. So if you want to build more confidence with magic, go out and perform more magic. If you want to be more confident as a keynote speaker, go out there and do more keynote speeches. And a lot of the times the answers to the questions that we ask are very simple, but we don't want the answers to be so simple because if the answer is so simple, it means now we just have to go out and perform. And we kind of don't want to go out and perform because at times we're lazy. Trust me, I know this because I'm lazy too. So our brains like to make the answers to our questions more complicated because our brain knows that we want to be lazy. So our brain wants to use the complication as an excuse not to do it. So to me, to build confidence in any area of our lives, do more of that thing and the confidence from that naturally develops over time. So yeah, mate, hopefully that helps, mate. I do hope that helps you. I've got here a question from John Lee says, are you Vietnamese? Yes, I am Vietnamese. Half Vietnamese, half Chinese. Over here, I've got Charles says, what do you do when they say, do it again? Oh, this is really good. Do it again. And yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Do it again, do it again, do it again. So and look, I think, again, you kind of make sure you respectfully say, hey, a magician can't do one thing twice. But what I can show you is this. And then I show them something else. But I also have a rule. I don't do more than 3 tricks for any given audience member. Because trust me, my friends, there is such thing as magic overdose. Like I remember, and let me give you a real example here. I'm performing magic for a group of people at a corporate function and they're loving it. Like the reactions are on, like through the roof. Everyone's like, oh my God, how's this done? Great reactions. And then I do like, you know, the 3rd trick, great reaction. Again, probably the best reaction out of the 3. And then as I do more tricks from there, the reaction kind of just drops. And the reason is because people actually experience astonishment, fatigue, and magic fatigue. Because imagine having to react like, oh my God, how's that done? Imagine having to react like that for an hour. It's pretty bloody tiring. So I have this kind of golden rule that I kind of stick by, and I will only ever perform 3 tricks, whether it's for my friends or whether it's for a professional client. I always do just 3 and I go, okay, that's enough. And you've just got to have enough confidence to stop. Because generally the reason why we feel like we have to keep going is because we feel like we have to continually please our audience. But you have to understand and make a mindset shift that for you to continually please your audience, you have to leave them wanting more. Because that's what's going to make you really exciting. Like, it's going to make you more exciting because next time they meet you, they're like, oh, I can't wait to see the magic tricks. But if you meet me and then I do like 50 tricks for you, the next time you meet me, you're going to avoid me because you're like, that weird guy. Oh, last time when he showed me a trick, he sat me down for 4 hours. Run! So, my friends, just be careful about overdosing your audience members with tricks. So, there you go. There's that. And these are. Can I just quickly give you all? You all should give yourselves a pat on the back. These are bloody great questions. Well done. Thank you for the engagement. So much love, my friends. So much love to you all. Now, yes, this live stream will stay on YouTube, so don't worry. Don't worry there, my friend. Ryan Magic says, Vin, how do we create, or how do you create an original effect? I don't create original effects. I create original script at times. I kind of just try to create my own stories where I can. But I also, use some best practices that I've learned from other magicians as well. So I don't have that brain to be able to create magic tricks. It's not really my forte. Though I know there are some great magicians out there who are incredible at incredible at creating magic. So maybe that question may be saved for maybe one of the creators because I've got no idea. My favorite trick, Netherpass says, my favorite trick would have to be stand-up Monty. And if you've watched my TED Talk, which Asad did load up to the YouTube channel so gracefully, if you watch that TED Talk, you will notice me doing my stand-up Monty routine. I still do that stand-up Monty routine all the time. It's my favorite. I created my own kind of scripting for it. I made some different kind of adjustments to the moves, and I love that. I love that trick. Vin, what do you do when you mess up a trick? I laugh. I genuinely laugh. Like literally when I stuff up, I literally go, well, that was crap. And then we all just kind of laugh about it. So to me, I just don't take myself too seriously, I think a lot of the times when I look at myself when I was younger as a magician, I used to take myself really seriously. And I'd be like, I get really upset at myself. I'll be like, oh no, I stuffed the trick. And I get really angry. And then after that, I go home and I kind of feel a little bit depressed. So for me now, as I grow up, I kind of try not to take myself too seriously, I try to just have fun with it. And when I mess up, that's a good thing because it shows the audience I'm human. And let me give you a bit of an insight too. When you stuff up, it actually makes your spectators like you more. Now, if you just stuffed up the whole time and you never did any good magic, then maybe they won't like you as a magician because you kind of sucked. But if you were doing perfectly fine, you showed them a couple of really good effects and you stuffed up on one, audience members are not there to get you. They're not there to be like, ha, you suck, I knew it. No. Audience members actually like to know that you're human because the moment you kind of stuffed up, it makes you vulnerable, and vulnerability is beautiful. And when you're okay with being vulnerable and you don't get really self-conscious and you kind of, just kind of embrace it and laugh about it, then audience members will love you because you're human. You're humanizing yourself. And what I see out there, and something that I used to do a lot too, is that when I perform magic, I kind of make myself seem like this godlike person. I am the mind reader. I am the incredible Vinh and I do magic. And I take myself too damn seriously because I play that damn persona. Whereas now I kind of play myself and I just have a lot of fun. And hey, when I stuff up, I literally laugh about it and we just have some fun. And then I literally have some audience members who they go, I bet you didn't even really stuff up. You just did that so that you would come across more human. And I'm like, correct. Trust me, it happens. It's literally crazy. But let me jump back to the live questions here. Can you do these live streams more often? Hey, look, as you're all watching this, if you all find this valuable, Asad and I will definitely listen to the comments. So if this is something you like and you do like the live streams, let us know. Tell us what you like about it. Tell us what you don't like about it. Tell us how we can improve. we love feedback. So don't be afraid to give us feedback. You know, I think it's one of the best ways to grow in life. And I say this because I want to lead by example for all of you too. You know, Asad and I are both teachers on this channel, and we teach you all magic. But we also want to teach you some great life lessons that will also help you as an individual, because as you grow as an individual, you'll grow as a magician. So there's a great kind of, what do you call this? Pylon effect. There's a wonderful pylon effect. So one of the most important things is to always seek feedback, and seek feedback on your magic, especially. Don't kind of practice in your room by yourself all the time. Go out there and perform, because when you're performing for strangers, that literally is a form of feedback. So in trying to lead by an example, tell us if you like this. Tell if you want to see more live streams in the future, and also tell us what we can improve on. Tell us what we can do to make this experience better for all of you as well, because we want to listen and we want to make the live streams here at 52 Cards better and better and better and better. We want to do the best live streams out there in magic. Like that's our goal. So help us get there by giving us some feedback. This is really cool. Thank you all for joining me here. This is really fun. And thank you for like all the comments and the emojis and everything. Super appreciate it. Let me go to the bottom here. Let me have a look at this. Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Vin, what magic shop do you use online the most? You know, I'm super biased because Asad's a really good friend of mine, and I want to support Asad, and I want to support 52 Cards. So I genuinely love being able to get stuff to support my friends. So for me, I'm truly biased, and please know that I'm biased. But I for my cards, I literally go to 52 Cards. So that's where I go. And I don't really buy any other magic props. I don't really kind of spend that much money in the world of magic as much, because I am focused a lot now. Like if you meet me, I'm not a magician's magician. I don't perform magic for magicians. I don't. Because when I perform magic for magicians, they're like, dude, your sleight of hand is so crap. I look, and I'm not that bad. I'm okay, but I'm not that good. Like, I'm not one of the elites at sleight of hand. I'm pretty good, man. If you test any of my basic skills and my basic sleight of hand, I'm not bad. I'm not gonna undersell myself. But you're not gonna see me do you're not going to see me do any of that, because I focus very heavily on showmanship. So all I need, honestly, like seriously, I can do a piece of mentalism with one playing card. So I can kind of have one playing card and off I go, and I can blow that person's mind. So I don't really need many props as a magician. So as a result, I don't really shop around for too many magic things. So sorry to not give you the answer you're probably looking for. But Mako Wacko, thank you for appreciating what we're doing. We appreciate you for taking the time to kind of let us know that you appreciate it. So thank you. Cornelius says, I just started magic, and what would be the best trick to do as walk around? 2-card Monty. Look up 2-card Monty. Hands down, a wonderful starter's beginner's trick, because it packs a punch, and technically speaking, it shouldn't take you too long to learn. But again, definitely 2-card Monty. Seriously, still one of my go-to routines. Such a good trick. Such a good trick. Down here, Ozma Ali says, will your ability to learn magic improve the more you practice, or will it stay the same? Your magic will improve as you go out and perform more. Keep in mind, it's not just about practicing at home. You have to practice to real people, okay? So that's one thing. Now, the second thing that's going to enhance your magic, you have to understand, magic isn't only enhanced by sleight of hand practicing. No. Magic is enhanced a lot more dramatically once you get your sleight of hand really good. Every kind of little incremental improvement you make once your sleight of hand is already pretty top notch, every incremental of improvement from then on is very small. So once you kind of max out the sleight of hand potential or get close to it, then the next place that's going to bring you a multiplication effect, that's going to bring about a multiplication effect on the reaction, is showmanship. So not only do you have to practice the sleight of hand more so that it looks more magical, you also have to practice your showmanship more so that it feels more magical. So you got to understand, with magic, it's not only what you see, it's also what you feel. And the way you can control how the audience feels is not through what you show them with your hand, it's what you say to them with your voice. It's what you say. So when magic looks real and it feels real, boom. Now, my friends, now you've created an experience that is beyond what anything like you've ever experienced if all you're doing is sleight of hand. Like I've done some pieces of magic before where the reactions that I'm able to get, genuine, like you can see them sitting there and you can see their mind exploding from the outside. And that kind of reaction really only comes about when you kind of understand that not only does it have to look impossible, it has to feel impossible inside as well. So there's some thoughts on that. And yeah, man, these are really good questions. I love this. So we've got another 5 minutes before we close out the live stream. So thank you all so much for joining. And please don't forget to leave us with some feedback down below. Tell us what you think. Tell us if you like it. Tell us if you want more of it. And tell us what you think we can improve on as well. Please don't be afraid to tell us how you feel. Even if you think it's good, please don't just watch this and lurk and then kind of just jump into the next video. It would really help us if you told us your thoughts. And even if you just wrote, hey, love it, guys. We thoroughly appreciate that too, because it gives us an idea of whether we should keep doing this or not. So there you go. Let me have a look here. Sebastian says, Vin, what is your opinion on getting cards signed? Because I don't have the money to buy cards every week. Even if they are bicycle standards, do you think it's necessary to get people to sign cards? Look, I mean, I think when the reason you want people to sign a card is because you're trying to prove to them you don't have a duplicate, right? So to me, yeah, look, I think it's a tough one to avoid if you're doing a trick and you want to prove to the audience member there's no duplicate. So if you want to avoid that, then I would just avoid doing tricks that causes the spectator to be suspicious about duplicates. So what I would do is, like, again, the world of magic is so vast and there's so many tricks. I would kind of focus on learning tricks that don't require me to prove to the audience member that there's no duplicates. And the moment you do that, you're not going to waste a bunch of your cards. And hey, man, I totally understand what you mean. When I was young and doing magic, didn't have a lot of money myself. Every time people signed a card, I was like, oh, that hurts my feelings. Especially when people like, you know when you hand your card out for people to shuffle and then people shuffle it really rough and then you're like, no, don't shuffle so rough. So it hurts my feelings. So I totally know what you mean. Oh, I got a highlighted special question here. And it's by, hey, I can't see what question you put in. Rushil Brahambat. Rushil Brahambat, you got to tell me what question it is. I can't see the question. You just kind of, I think it's an option on YouTube where you can kind of put money in to get your question up, which is bloody crazy. But yeah, well, thank you for the lovely donation. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. Thanks for showing us a lot of love, man. I'm going to show you back a lot of love, my friend. Thank you, Rishil. Appreciate you thinking of us and supporting us here on the channel. Your love, all of you. You know, you don't have to give us money. It's not something that we're asking for. We just really appreciate all of you watching our videos, supporting us with everything that we do. And I, you know, I've been watching Asad from afar before I fully collaborated with him, and I watched Asad do amazing things on Kickstarter, and I know in my heart, even though I'm like, whoa, Asad's so amazing, I know in my heart that Asad is amazing because of all of you. 52 Cards is amazing because of what all of you have done. So I'm very aware of that coming into the team at 52 Cards. So I just want to make sure that I'm always spreading the love and spreading the appreciation for all of you. So my friends, thank you all so much for being a part of the 52 Cards family. Anytime you have any questions, make sure you kind of reach out to me or Asad. And I definitely want to be doing another live stream like this, but we will definitely be looking through all the comments, kind of scrolling through all of them to see what the demand is like for live streams like this. So I want to take one lucky last question and we're going to take this to an end. Here we go. All right. So Steve Smith asks, oh, okay, Rachel, I'm so sorry, Steve, but Rachel asked the question, Vin, how do I get you in my top 5? Rachel, because of your very generous and lovely donation, Rachel, reach out to me. I will find you again after this, and I'm going to send you a quick message, and I'll give you... Actually, let me see if I can do this right now. Can I send... Hey, Asad, I hope Asad's still here, but if Asad is still here, can you kind of get Rushil's details, and maybe I'll send him a PM. So I'm going to commit to this. I'll find you after, Rushil, and I'll send you a PM. So I won't take it away from Steve. The last thing I'm going to answer before we close it out is, Steve, the most important piece of sleight of hand that I know till today, the most important piece of sleight of hand, and I'm saying this with conviction, like fists, conviction, right, is the double lift. I know, so cheesy, but so damn true. The double lift is hands down, two hands face down, everything down. One of the most powerful pieces of sleight of hand. And I remember books saying this, people on videos saying this when I first started Magic, and I was like, and now those people who said it before, metaphorically, have all punched me in the face. So I absolutely agree, and with those people initially from the beginning, as I've matured as a magician, that the double lift is easily the most important piece of sleight of hand. My friends, in closing, go out there and perform. You all have learnt a wonderful skill in magic, and magic has given you all a wonderful gift that you now can share with other people. So don't keep this gift to yourself. Go out there, perform, and enjoy and build the skill set, because magic is a lifelong skill set that brings so many wonderful things to your life. And Asad and I are so grateful that we're able to share this wonderful skill with all of you. And we are looking forward to the journey ahead. Asad and I got a lot of really exciting things planned for 52 Cards. And I can't wait to see all of you again really, really soon. Take care, my friends. From 52 Cards, HQ, bye.